Remember in the last lesson we were talking about basic sentences and then making them more complex. So I've taken this from the IELTS page. So you also need to understand complex sentences. And if you don't use them, you're not going to get above a band 5. So even just for a band 6, you have to be using a mix of simple and complex forms. And that's just for a band 6. You are able to make some errors in the grammar and punctuation, so maybe missing some commas and things, but they don't stop the communication. They don't stop the person reading, understanding what's happening. So what you have to be able to do is mix the kind of sentences we were talking about last week with some more complex sentences. So it's finding the balance between basic sentences, then the other sentences we looked at, which were joined with and but and so, and then more complex sentences. So what we're going to do today is work our way through some ideas of complex sentences. And then what you need to do is, before you kind of do writing, is maybe read through these and last week's PowerPoint again, so that you can start to remember and remind yourself of what they are, so that you can practice using them. And then hopefully you'll become more confident and better to use them. Okay?
Okay.
So, come on, PowerPoint. So, what can you remember about sentence clauses? So, if I said, what is a clause? I'm going to say part of the sentence that contains a noun and a verb. Do you remember that from last week?
Yes.
So, I like bananas. We've got here. Verb. We've got noun.
Hello.
Hi. And we've got subject, okay?
Okay.
And then we can expand them. So I like bananas and I like apples. How many clauses?
2.
2. Because we've got the 2 verbs, 2 subjects, and 2 nouns. And this one, I like bananas and I like apples, but I don't like pears. How many clauses?
3.
3. Again, because we've got 3 subjects. 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 verbs, like, and don't like. And then we've got 3 nouns, bananas, apples, and pears. And we've got our linking words of and but. And but. Okay, so you've got, within the IELTS writing, you need to be including sentences that are basic, statement sentences, and then some sentences with more clauses, and the complex sentences, okay? So that's what we mean by mixed. Mix of sentences means basic. The compound, which is 2 clauses, maybe, and I can't spell clauses today, and complex, okay? So you need to be able to using all 3, as well as the range of grammar, okay? So, complex sentences getting a band 6 or above, okay. So this is when we get these silly grammar terms, a subordinate clause, and people think, oh my goodness, what are they talking about? But basically, it means a part of a sentence that does contain a subject and does contain a verb, but it needs to be attached to something, because otherwise we can't understand what it says. So if you go back to these sentences, I like bananas, I understand that, right? I like apples. I understand this, and I don't need to say I like bananas, okay? So each part of each clause, one, I like bananas, I like apples, and I don't like pears. I can understand them on their own. I could say to you, I don't like pears, and that would make sense, okay? But if you look at these sentences, if I said to you, the blue words, they may not have been tested, you're thinking, what? What may not have been tested? What are you talking about? So you need the parts in yellow, okay? So this yellow would be the main clause that you need to understand the blue, okay? So I could say this on its own. People take natural health supplements, full stop. And you would understand me. You would go, yes, that sentence makes sense. But if I just said to you in conversation, they may not have been tested, you're not going to understand what I'm talking about, okay? So this is the idea of a complex sentence where there are two clauses, which we've talked about, but you need both of them for the sentence to make sense, okay? And they're joined by some different linking words. So this is the main clause. Do you understand the yellow? Does that make sense to you? Just on its own, yeah?
Yes.
But if you looked at the blue without the yellow, so if we just deleted that, does that sentence make sense?
No.
No, you don't know what it's talking about, okay? But it has got the subject and we've got may not have been, and then what? Tested, okay? So you need, this is the idea of a complex sentence, is that there are two parts of the sentence, but you need both of them to make sense, and they're joined by more complicated words, even though. So that's our mix, okay? Basic, I like bananas, and then we've got the compound, I like bananas and I like apples. I like bananas and I like apples, but I don't like pears. So that's your compound. And then your complex. So these are what you really need to be thinking about to get your grammar up to beyond a band 6. Okay, so remember in the IELTS, they're looking at the task, how you answer the question, how you organize and how your ideas are linked together, your range of grammar, and your range of vocabulary. And without doing this kind of complex sentences, you're not going to get more than a band 5 at all in grammar, okay? So what we want to do is try and get you up to a 7 in all parts of the writing. So the task, the organization, the grammar, and the vocabulary. So we're focusing on the grammar a lot, okay? Once you've got this idea, everything else will start to fall into place much quicker. This is the most difficult thing to focus on with the grammar. So I've got some examples for you. So our children may not be properly educated if we don't spend more on schools. So this is the main part of the sentence, and this is the supporting part of the sentence that on its own doesn't make sense. So we need the yellow to understand the blue, okay? And you can do it either way. With the linking word if, okay? And then we've got our linking word here that's joining them together. Although, oh, no, I didn't need to do that. Although, pollution is widespread. Okay, and then you can do it again the other way around. Okay, so you're building up much more complex sentences where both pieces of information are needed to understand the sentence. Okay. So here's some other examples as well. While the number of people going to America increased, the number going to the UK decreased. So I've given a bit more information in this sentence, but it's still linked with the while. Okay. So what I've done, these are the kind of words that you need to think about that link clauses in complex sentences. Okay. So in your basic sentences or your more simpler sentences, you've got the and, but, so, which are quite simple words. And then here, you need to be joining sentences with these kind of words, okay? So when you're doing your writing, make sure that you look at this, and when you go back through your writing, see if there's places where you can join sentences together using some of these terms, okay? That is the way to start building your grammar up. And that's why I said, before you do the writing, maybe have a look at this again and read through everything so it's fresh in your memory. And then eventually you'll just remember this. You won't have to keep looking at it, okay? But certainly when you're thinking about your writing, this is what you want to be factoring in. So here's the homework, and we're thinking about complex sentences here. And we're doing if you agree with the statement. So what you want to do first is brainstorm your ideas, okay? And look for ways to link them, okay? So when you've got a list of all your ideas in answer to the question, that's when you can think about this and whether any of them can go together using any of these, okay? You want to expand on your ideas. Think about what does the introduction need to have?
Paraphrase.
Yeah.
Set your statement.
Mm-hmm. And then the outline of the essay. Okay. The main body of the essay. Mix of sentences. And then conclusion. With opinion again. Okay, so you need to, and how many words?
250.
250 words. Okay.